The United States makes the UN work when it wants it to work. And that is exactly the way it should be, because the only question to the United States is what's in our national interest.
My name is John, and the International Criminal Court is now in session. It is October 2nd, 2023, and it appears officially that the war for Nagorno-Karabakh is over. The Azeris have taken the city of Konkendi, which was once the capital of the separatist Artsakh government and rebel group within Karabakh. And all the Armenians that used to live in these areas here are all now leaving. They're all evacuating to Armenia proper, and they're hoping that the Azerbaijanis don't try to push any further, maybe try to take this area here. That would connect them with, I guess, this scattered part of Azerbaijan, which connects them with Turkey. I heard reports that Azeris want this area, but I don't know if it's going to materialize. But yeah, so the war is over. Azerbaijan has won after basically like 3 decades of fighting for this land that has been internationally recognized as a part of Azerbaijan, literally since it first existed as an independent state post-Soviet Union. But it was under the control of the Armenians, Armenia, and maybe the Artsakh separatist groups. Like 20% of Azerbaijan was technically occupied by Armenia. And Armenia depended on the Russians who were deployed in Armenia to protect them from Azerbaijan. So just to give you sort of like a personal thing here on my end, I didn't really care too much about this conflict until it started kicking off again. In 2020, that is. I mean, I remember it all. It was like right before or after the elections had taken place in the United States. It was very turbulent, and there was a lot of turmoil going on here, so I didn't really pay attention to this too much. But then it got hot. The Azeri army, with their Russian-made tanks, with their Bayraktars, and even some Israeli-made equipment, they literally advanced quite easily into Armenian-occupied Karabakh. And they took the town of Shusha, which the Azeris, I guess, are claiming to be a historical, like, site for Azerbaijan. And, like, their people, their history, their culture, everything. And just a few days ago, Konkendi surrendered to the Azeri regime. In fact, the Azerbaijan police has now already been patrolling it. So it's literally over. It is done. And a lot of the Artsakh people have also been arrested too, like the politicians that were part of this government. They have all been mostly arrested or have all fled for Armenia. Probably Yerevan. But yeah, the war is over. Azerbaijan has won. It's a huge blow for Armenia, who I honestly think their statehood is in complete jeopardy. Because there's a lot of speculation, a lot of conspiracy theories hopping around that Azerbaijan is going to take it a step further and wants to take over the entirety of Armenia. But I don't think that's going to happen. In fact, what I think is more likely to happen is the Russians may try to incite a coup within Armenia, put in a pro-Russian government, like a hard-line pro-Russian government, and then they have like a shit ton of like Russian troops deployed throughout the country and build up like a lot of bases there. And I think, in my opinion, that is the only way you're going to be able to convince the Turks and the Azeris from taking it another step further. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, because everybody in the Caucasus, which includes Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, and I guess, maybe like parts of Turkey, I guess. Everybody in the Caucasus is all waiting to see what happens in Ukraine. If Russia loses in Ukraine, I'm betting that Azerbaijan is going to take that next big step to end Armenian statehood for good. But if the Russians win the war in Ukraine, Azerbaijan will leave Armenia alone. That's what I'm expecting to happen. They'll leave them alone. They'll look to cooperate with the Russians more. And yeah, it's not going to really be anything too meaningful. I mean, Azerbaijan has already gotten what they wanted. The entirety of Karabakh is now literally back under their full control for the first time since the 90s. So there's really nothing to really complain about unless they want to do a proper invasion of Armenia, which is plausible, but I don't think it's very likely because there'll be a lot of international condemnation for that, sort of like it was with Ukraine. And yeah, I just cannot see it happening. It's highly unlikely that Azerbaijan will invade Armenia, though I don't think it should be ruled out. But the most important thing here is that if you're the Armenians, you should probably be betting on the Russians to win the war in Ukraine. Why? Because if Russians win in Ukraine, it will give them a lot of, confidence, I think, to spread their influence throughout the old USSR. And maybe Georgia will bend the knee. And if Georgia bends the knee before Russia, then Armenia will be like right next to them, which in turn would guarantee Armenia their security from future attacks by the Turks and Azerbaijan. Nikol Pashinyan and I guess a lot of the westernized Armenian diaspora were actually pleading to the U.S. government for help, but it never happened. The fact is, the United States government does not care about Armenia and Azerbaijan. In fact, the United States was probably backing Azerbaijan the entire time, at least behind the scenes, not like literally publicly. I mean, that would be a major PR disaster for Biden and Trump if they did. So the best thing they could do was just play neutral, and it worked out. And I think the United States also recognizes Karabakh as part of Azerbaijan too, so they couldn't really say anything bad about them because that would mean pissing off Turkey, who is their biggest ally in the region. So yeah, that's why the United States didn't help Armenia, because Armenia doesn't really have that much going for it as a country. And it almost seems to me that it's pretty much doomed to getting gobbled up by another like power. Rather it be Russia, rather it be Turkey, Azerbaijan, or even Iran for all we know. In fact, people were actually thinking Iran was going to come to the rescue, but they never did. Iranians know better than to go to war with their neighbors up north. If anything, they were just trying to secure the border just to prevent more Armenian refugees from crossing over or for causing some chaos. I mean, that's all they were really doing, if we want to be honest here. Just border security, that's all. They weren't really going to help Armenia because Iran has a good relationship with Turkey, so it would not make any sense for them to cross the border and assist them. And besides, Armenia didn't even take part in this conflict this time. They just stayed out. They let Artsakh collapse because it was pointless. Azerbaijan in 2023 is not the same Azerbaijan as it was like, per se, 1994. Azerbaijan took a long time to regroup. They rebuilt their army. They upgraded it. They made friends with Turkey and Israel. And they took advantage of their oil wealth very well. Armenia, on the other hand, they got cocky. They didn't even upgrade their army. And then through some color revolution, they made a guy who was so delusional about the West coming to save him and thinking that Turkey was going to, I guess, be nice to them. Nikol Pashinyan, without a doubt, is absolutely the worst leader in the Caucasus right now. And he's the reason why Armenia has lost this war. Because he refused to make nice with Russia. And he failed to annex and integrate Nagorno-Karabakh into Armenia proper. And I do think by doing that, I don't know. But I honestly don't know if the international community would have recognized Karabakh as a part of Armenia. I mean, it's a major, big what-if question now, if anything. We'll never know how things could have been if Nagorno-Karabakh were completely annexed by Armenia. And I do think not reunifying with Armenia was a huge mistake. Or reunifying with Artsakh was a huge mistake for the Armenian government. A lot of it is their own fault. And it's also the fault as well of the diaspora for looking so cringe in the West. It's because of those people. No one here in the United States took them seriously. Nobody did. And that's basically, I basically listed all the reasons why they lost. Azerbaijan regrouped. They used their oil wealth to basically bribe our politicians here. And the diaspora were just annoying as hell. And then they pissed off Russia. So yeah, that's why Armenia lost. And that's why Azerbaijan easily won the war in the 2020s. So I hope all of you enjoyed today's video. I'll keep you a little updated on what's going on in the war in Ukraine. And maybe I might do a video on what's going on in Africa as of late, because that part, the Sahel, and I guess maybe Sudan, it's been looking pretty interesting as of late, not gonna lie. But yeah, I hope all of you guys enjoyed today's video. Comment below what you think of the whole conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan and how you will look back on it and what we can learn from it. I mean, just tell me anything. Whatever you want, as long as it's not against, I don't know, the rules of the comment section. But yeah, I'll see you all guys next time, and peace out. Bye.